Hello and welcome to Byju's Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to another session on Indian Economy Essentials. And in today's session, let's have a discussion regarding the concept of GST Appellate Tribunal. Now, what are the important points? Point number one. Very recently, I'm pretty sure all of you have come across this newspaper article which says GST Council meeting was held. After many months, for the first time, in-person GST Council meeting was held. And it was the 49th GST Council meeting. Now, during this particular discussion of the councils, or let's say the ministers, one of the very important decisions was taken. That is to set up the Appellate Tribunal, GST Appellate Tribunal. I'll start using the short form now, GSTAT. That is GST Appellate Tribunal. Now, the concept of GST or the reform of GST was implemented in 2017. And under the CGST Act, Section 109, remember the name of the section can be asked in UPSC prelims. Section 109 of CGST Act, there was a proposal to set up the GST Appellate Tribunal. Now, many of you will simply ask me, so it's been more than 5 years since the implementation of the GST, but even then, until now, why did we not implement the Appellate Tribunal? I'll come to the reasons, please don't worry. But before the GST was implemented, or this Appellate Tribunal will be implemented now, earlier what tribunals we had? We had at the state level VAT tribunals, we had the CESTAT, that is the excise duty and sales duty tax appellate tribunal. CESTATs were, that is customs, excise, sale, services, tax appellate tribunal. So earlier we had CESTAT and VAT tribunals, and it was found that these in terms of performance, in terms of resolving the disputes were not very efficient. What do you mean by that? For example, these tribunals, the number of tribunals or let's say the benches which were set up were very few. And within these particular benches also, if you take these, the CESTAT tribunals or let's say benches, 3 of them were set up to take care of the tax disputes, indirect tax disputes in 5 of the South states or South Indian states. And for whole of North India, 3 more benches were established. Now you can have a look at it. You will realize that the number of benches which have been set up to take care of North India, complete North India, the number of benches were very low. And in totality, there were around 9 benches. So the problem with respect to these benches was that the number of cases, that is the disputes which were filed, were very high. And these were not able to resolve the disputes very quickly. As of November 2022, more than 78,000 cases were pending at these tribunals itself. Now what is the problem? Problem is very simple. Here is a tax authority which will ask for a higher tax from you, will send a notice, ask for payment of tax. You will approach the tribunal. They are not able to resolve the cases or the disputes very quickly. You as a taxpayer, you are stuck up between the tax department as well as the tribunal. Now after this GST was implemented, we expected the GST, that is the indirect taxes was subsumed and GST was implemented. We expected the GST to at least resolve these kind of issues and to be very easy in terms of implementation, both for the tax department as well as the taxpayer. One of the issue has been that there have been a lot of disputes at interstate as well as intrastate level of payment of taxes. That is, generally you know that the taxes, that is the GST, will consist of interstate sales and trade of goods and services and intrastate sales of sales or trade of goods and services. So even under the GST regime, there have been a lot of disputes. Now some of you will be asking me, sir, what do you mean by dispute here? I'll give a very simple example. Imagine you have purchased a certain raw material, you have consumed certain services, you have paid certain amount of taxes, input taxes. Now you want to claim it under GST. You would want the input tax to be provided under this kind of a classification. there could be a dispute between you as well as the tax department as to what kind of classification these goods or services will fall under. It could be related to interstate trade and commerce or intrastate trade and commerce. So that has been the reason why the number of cases under dispute, even under GST, have been higher. Now, sir, agreed. We have implemented GST. Earlier, appellate tribunals have not been very efficient. But then, why did we not implement the appellate tribunal very soon? The reason was very simple. It was very difficult to arrive because negotiations were being held. It was very difficult to arrive at how many benches should be set up, where should be the principal bench be set up, what should be the qualification of members, how many members should be there within each of these benches, etc. That is the precise reason it's been more than 5 years. Even after implementation of GST, we are yet to launch, or let's say start the functioning of appellate tribunal. But having said so, in the 49th GST Council meeting, it has been decided now. Amendments will be introduced in the Finance Bill 2023. Once it is passed, we will have the GST Appellate Tribunal. Now, what would be the structure? Simple. The principal bench will be in New Delhi. Point number one. Second point, every state will have one bench of Appellate Tribunal. So, in every state, one tribunal, and the principal bench or every state will have one bench for respective state, and the principal bench will be there in the New Delhi. Second, what is the difference here? What is the difference between the principal bench and other benches? The benches which are set up in the states will take care of or will look after the disputes regarding intrastate trade and commerce. Within that state, any dispute regarding the GST will be taken up by the state bench. If it is regarding interstate trade and commerce, will be taken up by the principal bench. That's a very, very important point. Next very important point. So until now, what was done then? If now you are saying there is a state-wise bench and the principal bench, what used to happen until now? Follow this very carefully. If there is a dispute right now under the GST, you will try to approach the tax authorities. Even after they rule or even after they have issued an order, you have an option to go to High Court. Under the writ petition, you can file an application at the High Court. High Court will start listening to your case or dispute. And that itself is a problem. Why? One, it's a very costly affair. Costly affair in the sense you need assistance of lawyers, tax experts if you want to file a writ petition at High Court level. Second, once you file a writ petition at High Court, immediately they will not take it up. Even if they take it up, you will not get the resolution very quickly. So it's a costly affair. It's a time-consuming process. And third, the number of cases which are already pending at the High Court level are very, very high. So yours will be one more addition to the case, putting a lot of pressure on the judiciary. In order to address it, now we have proposed the appellate tribunal. Now these appellate tribunals, what are the advantages here? What would be the expected outcomes? One, it will provide a lot of clarity to the tax law. That is, for GST, if these appellate tribunals will issue an order, these orders can be used right in the future even when there is a dispute. So one, it will provide a lot of relief to the taxpayers as well as the tax authorities in terms of giving clarity to the tax law. Second, rather than directly running to the High Court, now you will go to the appellate tribunal and your issue will be heard. Your dispute will be resolved here. So the burden on the judiciary will automatically come down. Third, like I said, it was a costly affair earlier. Now it will not be very costly, or comparatively it is much less costlier now. It will not only reduce the cost of resolving dispute, it will also promote ease of doing business in the economy. So these are some of the advantages that we expect that the appellate tribunal will provide to Indian economy. What will be the composition? The benches will have 4 people or 4 experts. 2 will be judicially, or 2 are from judiciary, and 2 will be the technical experts. And these, out of these 2, one each, that is, let's say technical, one person will be recommended by central government, one by the respective state government. Same thing for even judicial experts as well. So these are certain very, very important aspects related to the GST Appellate Tribunal. But please do not come to a conclusion that this is a magic or this is right one-stop solution to everything related to GST. Do not come to that conclusion. Why? Even GST as of today has a lot of issues. For example, we need rationalization of the GST. There are problems related to inverted duty structure even today under GST. Tax evasion is happening under GST. So out of many of these problems with the GST regime is facing today, one of the problem was pending number of cases, only that will be resolved with the setting up of GST Appellate Tribunal. So this is in totality the discussion surrounding the recent decision of the 49th GST Council to set up the Appellate Tribunal. If you like these initiatives, please hit the like button. Provide your valuable comments in the section below. And if you yet to subscribe to Byju's Exam Prep IAS, kindly do it right now. Thank you. Have a great day.